You were saying
I
about
got sidetracked.
the current stuff and how you were talking, and I've seen all your videos regarding people from the States and Canada moving more and more into different parts of the Dominican Republic, and you as a big promoter of the North Coast, and you've seen all these all these changes that have been
Hmm.
happening over the last 5 years. And this is a question. So, do you think that more and more people are willing to willing to step aside and say, "Yeah, I want to move to the DR despite all the madness that we have here"?
Great question, man. I'm actually glad you asked that question because I am surprised and shocked that more Canadians and more Americans aren't saying, you know what, I'm done. I'm done with the price of electricity, of gasoline, of groceries, of my government oppression, of just, well, in both countries, we've seen a mass influx of immigration from
Mhm.
countries that don't want to assimilate with ours anymore. Like immigrants used to come in and be part of the community, learn the language and stuff. Now they all go into their own little like communities. They don't learn the language. They're not, and a lot of them are milking the welfare system and stuff. So I don't know why more Canadians specifically don't just say, I'm done, I'm out. Because many of them have been here before. If they looked into it, they could figure out how easy it is to live here, you
Mhm.
know. And I mean, the government just is good with like foreign investment. You can move massive amounts of money here with no strings. You know, you got to do it through a lawyer. You know what I mean? But so I am constantly surprised why more people aren't saying, I'm out. I'm going to look, I'm going to rent a place for 6 months and I'm going to seriously look at buying a place down here and making this my second home and getting out of the country for the winter
And you know
season at
what? I
least.
see more and more people moving away from the beach and exploring other cities in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Santiago, there's a lot. Well, before this interview, before we had this talk, I was in the supermarket and I was trying to cash out from the ATM, and I saw three kids, American kids. I noticed that because they have a Chase Bank card, and they having issues with the ATM, and say, and then tell them, listen, guys, I noticed that you've been trying 2 or 3 times trying to cash out from the ATM. Call your bank, because if you try more than once or twice, maybe your bank will be declined and your funds are not going to be received. And she's surprised that I speak in English. She understood immediately. And that makes you wonder, like, yeah, these people are exploring all their cities, all the areas, besides being in Punta Cana or in Sosua or in Samana. They're willing to explore other cities, and Santiago is one of a kind for especially for Americans and especially for veterans.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, it's an interesting take, and I think it's happening slowly. To answer your question
Mhm.
completely, I think that we are entering a phase now where the dissatisfaction with Orange Man Bad Trump in the States, you got a lot of elbows up crew that are saying, I'm done with the States. But that's maybe half the population, right? That are loyal liberals, and for some reason they hate America now because of Donald Trump, and
Mhm.
they're in en masse listing their properties for sale in places like Arizona, Florida, especially, where what they purchased years, decades ago, they're now dumping. And
Mhm.
they're finding because they're wanting to dump them all at the same time that nobody can sell anything. So because there's too much on the market, so that's going to bring prices down. I know some people that got out early in the states, sold before the the massive amounts of the massive people that did it all at once, and
Mhm.
they did all right. But in places like Florida and Arizona, the snowbirds are going to take a beating. They will sell eventually. And I think that time's coming now, maybe over the next 12 to 18 months, where these people are going to be liquid in Canada and wondering, where am I going to put my money? Where am I going to go now? If not Miami or North Miami Lakes or Orlando or wherever they were, where am I going to go? So you've got options. You've got Colombia, you've got Panama, you've got Mexico. All of them got issues. None of them are as friendly to expats that overstay their visas. Like in Colombia, you overstay your visa and you get picked up and deported, you can't not come back, whether you own property there or not. And
Wow, for real?
Oh yeah, they take immigration seriously, and and Mexico's got its own problems, especially with the gringos now. Like the cartels run rampant, and so I think that when people do their research and they look at places like Belize, maybe maybe Belize is not.
I met a lot of people during high season that they were, I mean, that was a couple years ago, that they were exploring DR and then jumping to Belize and then Tulum and other. Well, that was when Tulum was hot. Now it's not these days. But they were exploring other areas, and Belize was into word of mouth to permanently live there.
Yeah, that might be one of the more friendly ones, other than the ones I mentioned, even Costa Rica. You know what I mean? They've got restrictions on property ownership, on foreign investment and stuff like that. Immigration restrictions. None of that.
I was in Costa Rica in November. Beautiful, amazing as a country, but they're not developed as us.
Yeah,
when it
strange.
goes to those kind of stuff, especially when it goes cost of goods, they are very expensive compared to the.
Yeah. And so I think if people do,
that's a major claim from, especially from Americans who travel a lot. That's all. I'm in a group of people that travel to Costa Rica, and the major complaint is their prices.
Yeah, so I think good things lie ahead for the rental market and for the resale market, the real estate market. I think that good times are ahead, especially, I mean, every news that I see coming out of the Dominican Republic now is good. I mean, this submarine cable going to Puerto Rico, Google investment, 3 new airports on the North Coast. Are talking about a new LNG electricity station in Monte Cristi, I think it is. Like, I mean, development. Deals with the Trump administration on, what was the last one they did? The charter that they just signed that makes Dominican Republic a level 1 strategic partner with the
Open Wings, I think, alliance. I think that we have a lot better alliance with the United States. Yeah. And also that recently AROD just strike a deal with the government to build an international airport in Cabrera. So I think we're having a great run. In my 4 years of life, and mostly people will assume, have you lived in the States? Have you lived in Canada? They say, no, I just go there for business and enjoy the chicas there. So, and in my 40 years of being in the country, all my life, actually, I never seen such a growth. And don't get me, I'm not biased because I'm Dominican. I'm just being very professional in saying this. I never seen such a strike of a winning strike of a country in so low amount of time. Like in less than 25 years, we've been having, after the crisis that we have in 2003, it's all about growth since then. And it's because of several factors. And I'm going to put it very simple for the audience. Number one, we sat together in the 90s. We saw the crisis in Cuba. We saw the crisis in Haiti, 94, 95. And all the politicians sat together and say, we don't want to be like our neighbors. And they made a pact, and they sat together and say, hey, this is how the DR should be in the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years. That was the only time in the nation history that everybody sat together and say, hey, we don't want to be like the rest of the world. We don't want to have any bad situations. Let's fix our shit internally and move forward with fixing our stuff. Yes, 30 years after that pact, there's a lot of things that need to be fixed, especially the people behavior in the streets. But when it goes to development, when it goes to growth, when it goes to having electricity 24/7, having utilities in a functional way, let's say, compared to other countries. Having a certain stability when it goes to opening a business, that, yeah, there's still a lot of challenges in that matter, especially for startups. And one of the big supporters that small businesses, when you're starting a business in DR, you should be having a period of grace where you can be able to pay no taxes, and having a secure, comfy couch when you can launch your business with zero interest, with zero taxes, and move forward. I'm not the only one thinking about this. There's a lot of politicians here who have tried to push that agenda of having a secure environment for business people and for investment. Yeah, it's not about, yeah, you get 100, if you have 100K, 200K, your house, and you get a visa and you get a permanent ID Dominican resident card. But what about after that? What kind of tax incentives you're going to get as a Canadian or American who's investing in our country, for example? What's the real cash? What's the real benefits?
No.
All that kind of questions should be answered now for the next 25, 30 years in our country.
Well, you know what? I will give your government credit. Well, I give your government credit for a lot of things. But one, it was the Doral Charter that I was
They may be
about.
corrupt. They may be corrupt, but they're
Well, it's at least it's more out in the open. You know what I mean? Like, oh my gosh, it's corruption's everywhere in government now, but it just goes with the job, and you kind of expect that it's cost of doing business. Humans are humans; they're going to get corrupt, especially where money is involved. But the Doral Charter is the one I was talking about, and I think it's been compared to the Monroe Doctrine back in the day, and basically it's Trump's agreement with Caribbean nations that we own the West. We're the king of the West. The United States is the king. And if you want to do business with the king, you're going to have to help us out in a couple areas. One, you got to help us with the drug smuggling, illegal immigration, crime, and green lighting traffic lanes and imports and exports and stuff like that. We'll make it easy for you if you cooperate with us on this, but you have to kneel to the king. You have to say, we're number one. And also, it's keeping China out, right? Trump is obsessed with, buying in America, self-producing their own energy, and China's being a threat now. So I think this doctrine's like, if you help us put the reins on China and keep them out of our country through your back doors, we'll take care of you. So I'll give them credit for their forward thinking, because let me just finish. My country right now has taken a very adverse opinion and view politically of the Trump administration, and it's ruining the country, man. They're not negotiating trade pacts. They're getting hustled on tariffs, and they're just not coming to the table. They're not sharing information with the states anymore, and it's all going to turn around and bite them in the ass. So countries and governments, specifically like Dominican Republic, and I'm not saying that Dominican people are all a fan of the states or all a fan of the Trump administration. Hardly. I think they're more conservative than many other countries.
We're very more conservative than most
but
of the
at least they had the foresight to say, okay, Daddy's called. He needs us to cooperate. We'll cooperate because it's good for everyone. You know what I mean? Not this, oh, no, orange man bad. We're not doing that. I mean, the Liberal government in Canada was elected by being anti-Trump.
And you gotta understand that in our nature as a nation, we do business with everybody. We do business with China, we do business with India, we do business with the States, we do business with other countries like Brazil, with Russia, with everybody. And the cool thing is that I compare the Dominican government, especially the last 4 administrations, to by Abinader, from the first, second administrations of Abinader, and the previous administration from the PLD party, is that I compare that as the government is a hustler. Like, yeah, Poppy, I can do business with you. I can do business with you. They sat together with everybody, and they do finish their turns with everybody. And that comparison that you said, oh, Daddy Trump is alarmed that he's not giving attention at all, is that we just sat together and say, yeah, we need to, call Daddy Trump. We're gonna give him what he wants. But at the same time, we haven't closed business with China. We are keeping business with
Mm-hmm.
China at the moment. We're keeping business with India. Uh, and if the Americans wants to have American companies here, they're going to have their own space and they're going to pay their taxes when it goes to opening business. And at the same time, we're going to do business with Dubai. Like we have the biggest port that we have in the country is owned by the Dubai government.
Okay.
That's one of the things that most of the people don't understand. The airports that we have, except for the Punta Cana and Santiago, are administered by the French government, the Vinci airports. That's the thing that most of the people doesn't understand. And that electricity power plant that is going to be built in Monte Cristi
Mm-hmm.
is going to be owned by Canadians and a mix of Canadians and Americans.
Jeez.
So we do business with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
We, all the strategy that Trump has been doing all the time with everybody saying you got to do business with me, we already have that mindset for decades.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that we already protect ourselves with these type of situations, and if one if and we if, and we keep the pendulum depending what the nature and what the government is happening. We were, I remember, we in the early 2000s, we were pro-Europeans with France, UK, Germany.
Germany, yeah.
They have all these offices around the country and supporting farmers, supporting small businesses. All the funds from Europe we received it at the early 2000s. Now we're switching to the US. There's no USAID because he closed it. So the way we're going to be doing business with him is going to be okay. He wants a commission of everything that he wants. That's okay. It's how it operates.
Cost
You
of
know
doing
how
business, yep.
that's how Trump operates. He always wanted a commission because
Right.
he's a businessman.
Mm-hmm.
So so he's trying to do all this stuff in order to get his commissions. And we understood that because our president is a businessman. He has done business with Trump in the past. So he knows how they operate in these scenarios.
Well, I don't know what the future holds politically for the Dominican Republic. When I left Canada, I stopped talking about politics, and I'm not about to enter the political fray in a country I don't understand and don't have any right commenting on because I can't vote and I'm not part of the political process in this country. But I'd like to see a stable government. And the Abinadar government has been stable. And now that he's in the second term, a lot of money in infrastructure is starting to flow. And he's a North Coast guy, too. So the North Coast has been getting a lot of good infrastructure spending.
The Abinadar family used to own land.
They still do, I think. The old casino on the North Coast is his family's, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're the North Coast government because a bunch of officials are from the North Coast. Marisa is from the big families in Puerto Plata. Abinader is from Santiago, but he has land and assets in Puerto Plata. So these two administrations has been pro-North compared to the previous two administrations who were pro-South, pro-Santo Domingo type of thing.
Okay.
So I totally agree with you. We can establish a forecast of how it's going to be after 2028. But I'm going to be straightforward with you. The Dominicans have been more conservative. And over the last 6 years, Dominicans in general are more aware of the government, how the government is operating. They've been criticizing more and more the status quo in general.
Interesting.
Right now, there's a bunch of them who have been swung to the far right type of thing. We haven't had that in our past because at the end, all the political parties that we has been since the dictatorship in '61. All the political parties that we had are either social democrats or centric, but always leaning to the left. So we don't have like a certain ideology where it goes to be far right, far left.
Mm.
But the last 6 years, the rise of the far right has been on the rise. Uh, the politicians wants to keep that away on the status quo. They don't want to have these type of situations that we've seen in Iran, we've seen in Spain, or here in Mexico, where a lot of people protesting, a lot of people clashing with the current situation. Politicians in general, they wanted to keep things as is for the better, to keep everything okay, to keep the influx of uh, money and investment, and you have to keep things quiet. And as I said, politicians in general, they want to keep things uh,
Tranquilo.
as is, tranquilo, to keep things for the next 10 or 20 years. Um, for example, this week, the Senate approved that uh, any candidate who's not affiliated with a party can apply for a presidential candidate in 2028 and
What?
onwards.
So you're
Yeah.
going to have an influx of independents?
No, there's an influx of independent candidates
Oh.
actually, because the current political spectrum has been atomized over the last 5 years, because most of the people after the PLD lost the elections in 2020, there's been a massive influx of politicians who've been either creating their own political party, or they are independent, or and that's been for the political industry, Dominican political industry, that's like a sabotage. And so you don't want to have this type of situation. So the Senate approved this week that independent candidates cannot apply to be for
Oh,
the
they
presidential.
can't apply. Okay, I thought they were letting them up. Oh, okay. So you need to be with a registered political party to run for president
Yeah,
now.
yeah. So you had to be part of the system. So there's a bunch
Uh,
of people say, no, I don't want to be part of the corrupt political system, because I know how you guys operate and how you guys negotiate, and they are tired. A huge Dominican population, and the ones who voted, especially in 2024, that they're very, very uh, preoccupied of the alliances that the parties have been doing. Compared to America, compared to the Canada and other parts of the world, and this side of the of America, political parties can negotiate either a seat, or either being a mayor of a small city like Sosua, or negotiate positions in other cities in order to get their share of the pie from the political spectrum. So that's been forever. I mean, since we have elections, democratic elections, all the parties uh, either they're opposed, they negotiate. And in 2024, there's been a massive strike of people who didn't vote or vote absent in the national election, and it was against that. They don't want to uh, parties negotiate. They have this silent vote that they're not they don't agree with the system that we have right now. So there's been a sense of change, and the politicians don't want to have that kind of changes in the system. They want to keep things as usual.
cool,
I
man.
mean, you have you have you have senators that have been in the seat in the chamber for almost 4 decades, and having done they haven't done nothing for their province at all,
Yeah,
and
term
they're
limits,
just
man.
squeezing they're just squeezing the national budget, and they're doing their businesses. Some of them, they have two or three, four businesses while they have in their seat in the Senate, or the Chamber of Representatives, or even politicians. And one of the things that we thought that is going to be part of that change is that the current administration promised, having Abinader itself promised, that every politician that every person, no matter he's a politician or not, who can be part of the office, shouldn't be having businesses outside of it. but we've seen the opposite. Politicians entering, business people entering into the office, and they keep their businesses afloat. They don't separate between the state and their private businesses. So that's a thing that doesn't change, and people doesn't like that. Although you don't see that and protest here, or people protesting here about that, there's a silent voice among Main Street Dominicans that they don't like that kind of situation.
And if it's not silent, then they're banging their pots and pans and making a ruckus, man. I love that. I love it when they take to that, man. We saw that with the fiscal reforms that they put forward and then drew back.
We rejected the fiscal reform. I mean, I was, don't get me, I'm not gonna, I'm gonna be honest. I'm pro fiscal reform. We need that fiscal reform right away because the current system that we have, the current tax system that we have, puts in jeopardy the current government when it goes to the revenue that they're getting. And you've seen, don't get me started with for example, did you know that we have 3 million motor drivers in the country?
3 million.
Yeah. Did you know that just 1% of those 3 million pay taxes?
They're illegal.
Yeah.
They don't have a registration on their moto. They don't pay a yearly registration.
They don't pay the registration, or the government doesn't enforce that. And the government doesn't have the capacity to enforce it.
They don't have the manpower.
That's why you see all the police street. They don't do anything because they can jump in the street. They cross over from the police, and they don't have the capacity. So I'm in favor of that fiscal reform because
it's a huge opportunity for revenue too. And if you do it intelligently, you'll foster foreign investment, you'll foster real estate growth, you'll foster social programs for the people that really need it. I mean, I get.
For example, we may pay 18% for sales tax and everything, but that's the lowest sales tax that we have right now in the country, in around Latin America.
Really?
Because compared to other parts, you may see Panama pay zero tax, but the government enforce tax declaration among their citizens, and very strongly in many other ways. But here, because the government doesn't have enforcement, that's why you see the 18% in everything.
Right.
That's the only way that the government makes money here.
And I mean, even as a realtor, I see the amount of money that's available to the Dominican government by taxing Airbnb income. Here, foreigners come in, they buy property, that's good. They rent property, they take the money out of the country, and they don't pay anything on it. So I get. I don't think there's too many Dominicans that are going to be screaming about Airbnb profit. Maybe there will be a lot.
Let's go to the other side. I think there are a lot of
foreigners that are really concerned.
Let's go to the other side of the spectrum. Did you know the majority of hotels in this country pay taxes? Did you know there's a tax section for hotels and that?
Well, that's everyone that's complaining is the hotel owners. They're like, we pay taxes. What do we got to pay taxes on rooms for if these guys aren't paying taxes? So their lobby group is pretty good because the lobby group's got everyone convinced they're all paying taxes.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things here when it goes to revenue from the government that needs to be improved. And that I really in favor of a major reform around the country.
Yeah.
And in many ways.
Well, brother,
for the good for the citizens, and that and you're gonna make all these excuses about it. Oh no, because this is a third world country. No, it's not.
No, it's not. I hate when people say third world country.
It's a very developing country. No, because the majority earns below $400 a month. No, it's not. There's a huge bunch of people who their major influx is from reminiscences, from mom and pop sending money from New Jersey to here, and they don't declare that money. Or people here who are not with a bank account because they're afraid of the fees that the banks we have, which actually those fees are outrageous. But in general, that system of uh, disorganization and informal things around the system that makes the system very, very more corrupt, more disorganized, and more prone to scams in
Abuse.
many ways. Because someone who's from Ottawa will say, "Oh, I'll buy a property, and let's go to real estate. I'm gonna buy a 125K property in Santiago." And they don't realize that they need to pay their yearly taxes because no one told them. Oh, but you need to pay the taxes. It's just 1% after a certain amount of money. Uh, it's just very little. It's very small compared to the ones in Canada. I mean, how much you're paying for taxes for property taxes in Canada?
Jeez, it's way more than 1% a year.
How much we're talking about?
I wouldn't know. They don't. It's based on a mill rate and stuff like that. But taxes in Canada are insane. Like, I mean, you're.
But going for that,
know.
yeah. But even with that, even with the fiscal reform, foreign people, snowbirds, expats will still pay low,
Oh yeah.
and Dominican citizens will be paying low, just by just declaring. I'm an independent contractor, and I declare my taxes, and simple as that. I don't pay taxes because I just declare them. The government, what, Jim? Every government in the world, and you know that, they just want you to declare their income, and simple as that. If you don't declare it, that's a fee. Yes or no?
Yeah. Declare if you want to stay legal.
Yeah, as simple as that. And I'm legal. I'm just declaring my income, and I have different sources, and I just declare them and say, "Hey, government, I'm here, and this is my money. This is all the things that I just earned. Do I have to pay you?" Say, "No, bye bye." That's it. But the majority of Dominicans, they are afraid of that kind of system, and do it because I'm independent. But the majority of Dominicans, once they say, "Oh," just by keeping their money in their bank, it's kind of like a Halloween's nightmare, because at the end they feel like, "Oh, the government is counting my money."
Not only that, I mean, the fees aren't insignificant. I think my bank charges me $15 a month or something like that. Like if you don't have a minimum balance or whatever, like.
Yeah, if you don't have a minimum,
Yeah.
like for example, they charge you for that. Then after that, they don't charge you. But that's one of the things that need to improve here, and that's one of the things that most of the people who are coming here for the first time are not being told. Just simple details, just when it goes to that type of stuff, either making business or on a daily basis. Once you hang around here, there's a bunch of people that they still assume that we don't pay taxes on restaurants here, but we do pay 28% on everything. It's because the majority, a certain bunch of restaurants in the beach, they don't pay. That's their problem. But in general, all major restaurants in the country pay 28% in taxes, and you have to pay as a consumer.
Yeah, brother. I want to respect your time. An hour and 7 minutes just flew by. It goes fast, eh, bro? I just want, on the way out, give you a chance to tell us, like, what are you up to these days? What's your passion? What are you loving to do these days? Oh, okay. I was just saying, thank you for your time. Number one, an hour just flew by. It goes pretty quickly, but on the way out, I just want to give you. I want to kind of read what you're up to. What do you love doing these days? What's your passion? What are you doing with your free time these days?
Well, actually, because I have a bunch of work right now. Thank you, Jesus, for this 2026. I'm
Gracias,
blessed.
Dios. Sí.
I'm blessed. One of the things that I do and enjoy, just escaping outdoors. Like I grab my car and start driving uh, early in the mornings, especially either going to the beach. I love hang out to Cape Verde and see the sunrise there. The few times that I have, uh, and just stay tranquilo. That's what I'm doing right now because with all this work that I'm having and more time spending on the screens, you need to disconnect. And
Right.
I'm a free, as a person who's a free thinker, you need to have like a disconnection sometimes. And that's one of the things that I do. I used to run a lot, but I'm very chubby right now. So with a lot of
Very
picapollos and bohemians that I had during my days in Cabaret and Sosua, that's getting me. You notice that uh, what you're seeing is that's part of the process. But right now, just uh, getting disconnected, and being disconnected is one of the cool things that you need to have, especially these days when you have a lot of people in the digital spectrum doing a lot of stuff and content.
All right, brother. I'll put your links and contact information in the description when we go live. I think this will be Thursday, 7 o'clock type of thing. I'll broadcast it live, and then a different cut will go up. But it'll go out with all the SEO and the tags and the descriptions that are proper. I didn't have that information to go live with you today, but we'll do that next Thursday. I'm attending Bliss tomorrow for a fundraiser for Choral School in the Christian School in Cabarete. Sam Hanna is doing a fundraiser for them. So we got a dinner for 100 people down at Bliss for a fundraiser for Choral School. It's just and that's who I've got. I've got a 4 o'clock with Gustavo, my friend that teaches over at that school. He's also he teaches languages and stuff like that. So I got a 4
Awesome.
o'clock. Yeah, but I appreciate your time, and we'll get you back in. Your insight is so great. I knew it would be. And then a couple months ago, I saw you on another podcast. I'm like, oh, I was supposed to get him on my show, and that set looks a lot better than mine. And
I'm always available.
you had nice,
I'm not a big
comfortable
star.
chairs, and it looked like
I'm
you're in
not
a
like a
professional.
fancy big star, but I'm always available. I've tried to be, everybody's busy trying to chase how to pay the bills lately. So I'm these days I'm more and more available. So next time we can have another session and have a great conversation as usual.
Yeah, we'll go into a little deeper on some of the projects you're working on, specifically what it is, the work you do, but your website will be there and people can go and check you out and maybe bust you off a call if they're looking to do some development in the business sector.
Perfect.
All right, brother.
That will be great.
Appreciate your time. I love you, man.
Have a great one.
Peace out, yo.
Bye.